shocking news from St. Louis: 200+ confirmed dead. As a candidate, President Trump pledged to make America safe again. Coming out of 8 years of failed leadership by the first black president, Barack Obama, crime among his brothers and sisters had skyrocketed. You would think the opposite would be true, but some people just can't help themselves, it seems. While Trump is doing his best to make our neighborhoods safer, it's a difficult task when cities are run by Democrats who thumb their noses at his efforts and do nothing to quell the rising tide of violence in their municipalities. St. Louis is one such city. Democrats have dominated St. Louis politics for decades, and the city hasn't had a Republican mayor since 1949. Whenever Democrats control something for that long, it's bound to become a shithole. And St. Louis sure had, especially with regards to crime. St. Louis has the highest murder rate in the country per capita, and most of the victims are black men. And to think, most blacks vote Democrat hoping for a better future, or maybe it's just for the handouts, who knows? The St. Louis Post-Dispatch reports that after a triple homicide where 3 women were trying to escape from a home invasion robbery but didn't make it and were slain, that the city's homicide count is now at a whopping 203. Via the Dispatch. That triple murder pushed the annual homicide count to 203, the most the city has seen in a single year since 1995, when there were 204 victims. The city's population in 1995 was about 50,000 more than what it is today. Society is changing, St. Louis Police Lieutenant John Green, who runs the homicide division, said at a press conference. The value of life is not there anymore. They don't care. Green and Acting Police Chief Lawrence Otil repeated pleas to the public for assistance solving the cases. Any small thing can help, Green said. The total excludes homicides ruled justified, such as cases of self-defense, and fatal police shootings. The unfortunate milestone for homicides comes as St. Louis is trying to hire a new police chief from among 3 internal and 3 external candidates. Statistics compiled by the St. Louis Police Department provide a look at who the victims are and what homicide detectives are up against. The deaths of the 3 women Friday morning bring to 27 the number of female homicide victims in St. Louis this year. But mostly, the victims are black men, the motives unknown, and the murders unsolved. For the cases in which the motive is known, about 30 involve an argument, about a dozen involve robbery, and fewer than 10 victims each were thought to be victims of drug-related or retaliatory killings. Last week, the city of St. Louis said about 35% of its homicides this year had been solved. By comparison, the clearance rate nationally for murder is about 60%. Police say at least 8 of the year's murder victims were unintended targets. Jackson identified 4 such victims in cases where warrants have been issued against the suspected killer or killers. The spike in murders comes on the heels of the Black Lives Matter riots in various cities across the nation the last several years. The terror group targeted white cops who were just doing their jobs keeping us safe and who had to put down blacks involved in criminal activity. To BLM, all black criminals are martyrs and the white cops who are forced to shoot them when they attack them are devils. What was the effect of the riots and attacks on police? Police decided not to go into high-crime areas since they weren't wanted there. Apparently, blacks took that as a license to go on killing sprees. Via Reuters. In poor New York neighborhoods, residents ask, where are the police? On the sidewalk of a public housing development in Brooklyn, New York notorious for gang violence and drug activity, the words "fascist pig, go home" in black spray paint are fading but still legible. These are the Marcy houses, 27 brick H-block buildings, each 6 stories high, that are home to nearly 4,300 people, many of whom are black or Latino. The rapper Jay-Z, who grew up in the complex, described Marcy as a block away from hell, the place where news cameras never come, in a song called Where I'm From. In recent years, Marcy has had a group of very reliable visitors, the police, who patrol on foot and in cars as part of a controversial broken windows strategy that focuses on cracking down on small crimes to prevent bigger ones. Until 3 weeks ago, they had been an ever-present, highly visible presence in Marcy houses. Now, the police have all but disappeared, raising safety concerns among some residents while pleasing others who view the police strategy as oppressive. A reporter saw only one police car on a visit on Thursday. The shooting of two police officers in their patrol car a block away from the development on December 20 has widened a rift between the police unions and New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, who they accuse of making anti-police statements and fueling a hostile environment for police, allegations he denies. Police department data shows the number of arrests and court summonses has plunged across the city since the shooting. But it is in higher crime areas like Marcy Houses, and neighborhoods such as Mott Haven in the Bronx, that the lower police profile may be of most concern. No court summonses were issued in the 79th Police Precinct, which includes Marcy Houses, in the week following the murder of the two policemen, compared to 401 summonses in the same period in 2013, according to police data. There were only 10 summonses issued last week, compared to 405 a year earlier. New York Police Commissioner William Bratton confirmed for the first time on Friday that there has been a widespread work slowdown by police officers. So you see, when you hate cops, attack them, and call for their deaths, they tend to stop patrolling your neighborhoods. And then all hell breaks loose and people die. Apparently, Black Lives Matter and Democrats don't care because they aren't doing SHT about it. They're actually making matters worse. Share this if you think BLM and Democrats should be banned in order to keep people safe.